Hello and welcome to the podcast. Dearest listeners, in episode 1 we made a claim that Gregg Wallace was potentially an arsehole. And then went on to hypothesise that his time at MasterChef may be over. Well, a mere 72 hours after that record, and on the day of the release, he was axed from MasterChef. Coincidence? Probably. Or did we, the newest truthsayers on the podcast market, influence the almighty BBC to take action? Unlikely, but possible. Probably not. Either way, literally some of you took to our social media feeds to comment on how brave we may have been, or may not have been. Some others took a slightly different view. In one comment, a man called Derek with no profile picture defined us as podcasters, in quote marks, before following it up with absolute melts. And I agree with his subtle positivity. We are more than just podcasters. We're melting down the broadcasting might of the BBC with our influence. Yeah? That's probably fine, isn't it? We'll just skip over that. All I can say is we're not going to stop now. Oh no! We're going to keep taking the podcasting world by storm. If world, you mean parts of the UK, and by storm, you mean a bit of drizzle and a slight breeze. Welcome to the show, listeners. Welcome to the show.
I had a friend from Hong Kong who messaged me, and he said that he had it on his TV, and we said we'd gone international.
I thought you were going to start a riddle then. I have a friend from Hong Kong.
So, arguably international. However, what a first episode.
What a first step. I can't believe we broke such breaking news before the news broke. Yeah?
I can't believe we cut out the bit where we said that we think Joe Biden is going to pardon Hunter Biden. As if we cut that bit out.
Yeah, that's going to be quite old news for you. Peek behind the magician's curtain, or the podcaster's curtain. We do record 2 episodes at a go.
Sometimes.
Every time so far.
How are you?
I'm all right. Do you know what? It's been a bit of a whirlwind week for old Parsons.
Yeah.
I went all the way down to Weston-super-Mare. Heard of it? That's where I'm from. I'm very proud of it. I went back because I had a gig
Not proud enough to live there, but proud of it.
Thank you. Someone's listened to some of my sets.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back because I had a gig in Minehead. The might of Minehead. The beautiful theatre of Minehead, somewhere. Only to be told when I got to Weston-super-Mare that I wasn't booked on the gig.
That was a clerical error.
There was a clerical. This happens. I'm fine. The person was very, very good and has given me a gig on the Grand Pier. Hopefully not by myself. I don't think I could pull in the crowd.
No, it'll be you and Bobby Davro.
It'll be me and Bobby Davro at the end of the pier in Weston-super-Mare. So, albeit I did get to spend some quality time with my family and eat mum's food.
Lovely. Well, at least you made the best of a potentially bad sitch.
Yeah, do you know what? These things happen. We've been to places before and had late cancellations. The great thing is that if they could all just cancel in my hometown, that would be amazing, because that means I get to eat mum's duck.
You're really pushing this
love mum's duck
agenda.
So for the listeners, I ate one of the best duck dishes that my mum has ever created on Sunday, and I've told Emsley about it at least 5 times. A staunch vegetarian. We
were going to do a boring voice note section, and it was going to be the multiple times you've referenced your mum's duck. However,
we haven't had many exciting voice notes since we decided to introduce the voice note idea.
No, and we're not forcing it. So
no.
If they come, we will play them. If they don't, it's mum's duck.
it's mum's duck chat. But it is good when you go home. Has your mum got a dish that you're just like, that is the dish?
She is fantastic at egg fried rice.
You love egg fried rice.
I love egg fried rice.
I think it may be the most boring meal that's...
Oh.
Do you know what it is? It's an I'm a Celeb meal.
I genuinely, if I'm a Celeb, they moan about eating beans and rice. I would love it. I would absolutely love eating just beans and rice.
I wouldn't mind if they had some salt sachets.
I don't even care. I did a diet, sounds like the wrong word, but I had to do, it's called an anti-candida diet. So it reduces the amount of sugar and I believe the amount of yeast in your system.
Sexy.
Yeah, is that right?
Is there a worse word than yeast?
So I basically, all I ate for 6 months, this is years ago now, I ate spinach and plain chicken. That was it for 6 months.
For 6 months?
And I tell you what, withdrawal from sugar... That is.
Did you not have anything else other than that?
No. I had plain.
Did they tell you to do this, or did you just do it?
No.
Did you just take it too seriously as a challenge? You're like, 1 month, I'm going to do 6.
No, it was supposed to be. Maybe it wasn't 6. Maybe it was 3 months. But sugar withdrawal is insane. Like that's mad.
Did you get the shakes?
Got shakes. Couldn't sleep.
Headaches.
Started
wanking.
No. Started sort of defecating gloop.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
Yeah,
defecating gloop.
But in terms of it, so I basically just had that, and then 3 months later, I was allowed to introduce just strawberries, nothing on them. That was insane. The taste of a strawberry was amazing, and then like a week later, you're putting sugar on them.
What was this? So what's this for? Sorry, what was the aim of this? To check if you have diabetes? What's the vibe?
What was it? Anti-candida. Probably should have Googled that before I went into talking about it.
Yeah.
It was to do with the amount of yeast in your gut, which I think made what did it do to me? It just meant that I went to the toilet a lot, and it was something that they felt that it could help with. But within that, my no seasoning, I was allowed to add in salt a bit later on, so I added in salt, and I was like, yeah, I could live without salt. I love salt, but I could do it without. So
you could do that. That's the bit of the jungle you'd be fine with.
Yeah, that bit.
Yeah.
None of we've just turned into I'm a celeb pod.
We really have to get off that, because also it will probably be finished by the time this episode is out.
Yes, yeah.
So we'll move swiftly on. How's your week been, man? What's new with you?
Very nice. I have been gigging up in Manchester, and I am very happy when I'm gigging to go for a meal on my own. I'm happy to go to football on my own. I went to football on my own at the weekend.
You do I don't mind being on my own,
yeah.
As we mentioned in episode 1 or 2.
Welcome to the grief house.
I absolutely love being on my own at all times. But I do draw the line at going to football by myself. I did go to watch Bristol City once by myself, but I do
Didn't enjoy it?
No, it was all right. I mean, I sat next to a lovely old bloke who told me a lot of stuff.
Did he wanted to chat?
I think big time, and I didn't really.
I think a lot of people who see people on their own at football, they sort of expect that you want to be involved. I get it quite a lot. People be like, bloody hell, oh, Marco Silva. And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm more than happy just standing.
Old Marco Silva.
Yeah. But I'm more than happy just standing.
Yeah, clear that obviously a lone person.
No, not him, but the person saying to me, wants to make a comment, wants to engage. Marco Silva is the Fulham boss. We won't delve too much into that. But I'm more than happy
That's
to go.
very much how the podcast goes. We don't delve into anything. we skim over very much the small details of the podcast before ending it at about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
in.
Why not? So I was in Manchester gigging at the lovely Frog and Bucket, and I went to Pizza Express beforehand, got myself a little pizza, got myself some dough balls, got myself a pizza, and I popped Bake Off on my phone and was just watching it, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder, and I was like, what's going on here? And he tapped me, and he went, you're living your best life. You're slaying, and then
you're slaying.
I'm slaying.
Do you know the terminology slaying?
No, not really.
So it means you're doing well.
Well, I
want to say it's come from Drag Race.
I would imagine so, but anyway,
it does in all culture now.
I was having a lovely time, and I thought, thanks for that. Manchester was very friendly. Everyone was lovely, but I thought, what do you like eating? Was
it a bit like a pity?
No,
you're slaying.
Well, he didn't need to come over.
No, he didn't. Did he feel like he had to?
No, because I was having a lot. I didn't need him.
I was eating perfectly fine without him, and I'd eat perfectly fine without him again.
Would you go out for a meal on your own?
Yeah, I would. I'm not too bothered by that, but I do find I just stare at my phone.
Yeah,
I don't because
take a book.
I know that you can sit and just look like just outwards to the world, and I need to be within a very much a cultivated world via various screens.
But I don't need to be looking out. I can just look at a wall. I'm just having a nice time eating my pizza.
You are the most unbelievably bereft of any pain in your life. Like no anxiety, nothing.
No, they've got anxiety.
Oh, what's your main anxiety then? Come on, big bollocks.
Do you remember the other day you said I didn't feel embarrassed?
Yeah. You never seem to feel embarrassed.
You've seen me trying to flyer in Edinburgh.
Oh my God, yeah, you're awful at that. I forgot about that. You're the worst flyer on earth. So in Edinburgh, the Fringe Festival, often you have to flyer the streets before you sell out a show.
Yes.
Sell out a show.
fucking hell.
Chance to be a fine thing. But you often have to sort of go up to random people and sort of try and sell your work. And that's really, for most comedians, it's nauseating. I actually don't mind it. I'm quite good at flying. I'm quite good at flying. I just go up to people. I get into a conversation. I'm the extrovert. You, a person who has no anxiety, looks like your anus is collapsing in front of you. And then collecting you. You look like you want to sink into your anus, is what I was trying to say there.
In my head, I think these people have got better things on. They've got better things on than my show.
Because you think of people like you in that regard.
Yeah.
Because those people have come to watch Edinburgh shows.
I wouldn't go to Edinburgh not knowing, and this is something that people have said to me, you need to be a bit more spontaneous on this. I go to Edinburgh with a spreadsheet of shows I want to see and go see. I'm not going.
He is so much fun at parties.
I'm not going to parties. Don't worry about that. I am not walking around Edinburgh, and if someone flyers me, I'm going to that show.
Yeah, of course you're not.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm in that mindset, right? So that then means that I go, oh, I'm so sorry for wasting it. You need the time. 7, bye.
You are a man without any need for an outside suggestion, because you're a man that's so planned that every movement of your life is planned in that regard.
Yeah.
And I really respect that because I'm similar to you.
Yeah.
However, I accept that people are just wandering around, not really knowing what's on.
Well, in Edinburgh,
and you can win people over. And also, you're sort of giving them a little flavour of what you're kind of like. You sort of go into Edinburgh and go, oh, do you like my vibe? Do you need this? And then often they go, no. And then you'll drag them in and they'll leave halfway through.
And often you do it to people who you already sort of know, and they go, you do know that we've spoken. You go, yeah.
Or people who don't speak English. My absolute favourite is going up with my personality to a person who doesn't speak English, and they just go, yeah. End up coming into the front row, don't laugh for a second because they can't understand a word.
Yeah, the Edinburgh act. But so you'd eat out on your own?
Happily eat out on my own, but I don't feel like comfortable. Like I don't just go, I'm just eating on my own, I'm fine. There is a part of me that's like, I'm on my own here.
That's always in the back of your head.
That's always slightly in my mind. I don't think I can properly settle into the solo food mission. Whereas a coffee shop, fine. I could be on my own there, not really feel like I'm alone. It's a different environment, a restaurant or a coffee shop. Do you know what I mean? There is a slight... Restaurants are where dates go. And then...
Well, you might be on a date.
Well, I might be on a date and I might have been stood up.
But you might be on a date in a restaurant and you might have been stood up, so you're eating your pizza and your dough balls on your own.
Which is even worse. You get the pity stares. That's the classic, isn't it? That's the classic phobia, is that people think you've been stood up.
I've never worried about pity stares. I'm having a pizza. I'm having a great time.
You've never worried, apart from when you have to hand a flyer to a stranger. Maybe let's dig into that. Maybe it's a case of you. Let's dig into this in therapy.
Why? Yeah.
Maybe it's a case of when going up to you just don't want to impose on people's lives.
That's correct.
Whereas you're not bothered if people think that you're imposing in your own life.
Well, yeah, I don't.
You don't give a shit.
I don't mind. I'm eating a pizza. I'm having a lovely time.
God, I care what people think.
There are elements where I care. Well, why do we do comedy? But to save us from going down that route.
But even then, you can have a 6 out of 10 and be absolutely fine.
You
don't get in your own head. Whereas if I have a 6 out of 10, I mention it 4 times.
What that means.
So a 6 out of 10, yeah, good point. 6 out of 10 is when you have a gig that you're like, that wasn't great, but also
that was all right.
It was a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I would be in my own head for most of the journey back home and probably for most of that evening. Next morning, I'm fine, I'm clear. But you will give me a voice note going, yeah, well, I went to Rotherham. There was 5 people and a dog in there. They paid me good money, though, so I'm happy. Bish, bash, bosh. Which I would go, that was a horrific experience.
I think you'll find it was Warrington.
Warrington with the 5-man and the dog.
I don't mind.
Yeah, you just... Imagine being that unflappable.
We're having a nice time.
Yeah, love the unflappable nature.
Yeah, I'm having a pizza. I'm good.
I'm having a pizza. I'm living life.
If I've got a pizza, I'm all good.
But see, the eating alone, not so bothered, but it will be in my mind. That's always going to be there, I'm afraid.
The thing that I find very interesting about eating on your own is the speed in which you can do it. Because obviously, you go out with a friend, you go out with your partner, whatever. You sit down and it's kind of like an event. You're going out and you're enjoying it. When you're eating on your own, there's nothing keeping you there. I could be in and out of somewhere in like 13 minutes.
That's your wet dream,
Bang,
isn't it?
Off we go.
That is your wet dream. The idea that you could be in and out within 5 minutes. The ultimate efficiency. If you could eat food in one mouthful, you would.
Like that guy on TikTok who doesn't chew his food.
Oh, now he's talking about TikTok.
Yeah, good point. But if I go to a restaurant where I know the menu, I will, and I'm on my own, I'll walk in and I'll be like, don't worry about the menu, I'll just have this.
Oh, yeah, we've covered that.
Yeah, but bang, you're done.
Yeah.
And you can sit, have a little think.
You are the ultra efficiency.
Yeah.
Like you are. If you can make a small gain, you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's test this. Have you seen the rejection? The rejection therapy people.
The rejection therapy people.
So they're the people on social media. Appreciate it wasn't a perfectly well worded sentence, but there's a thing called rejection therapy where people do quite outrageous things to be like that are really uncomfortable and anxiety inducing. To sort of get more comfortable with being rejected as a thing. So you'll get people do it like lying down in the middle of a busy like Oxford Circus or something, just like lying down on the floor on the pavement with a yoga mat and just like there because they're worried about how weird that looks. There's got people who shout out. Some people doing stuff on planes where they like go, "We had a great flight, everyone!" Like stuff like that, which makes. Would you do any of that?
Well, no. Why would I?
Well, because I've never been rejected and I've never had a fear of it.
But that is my worry with that is you're supposed to sort of, as we know famously, you're supposed to sort of like grade your exposure to that type of therapy. So if somebody is worried about lying down in Oxford Street, you shouldn't be starting at lying down in Oxford Street. And my guess is for social media that they just go straight to...
I think you can still do the CBT style of progression. So for those who haven't had therapy...
They lie down in Regent's Street first.
Regent's Park upwards. But I imagine you can still grade it.
I just don't see any need. Why would I want to inconvenience people's lives?
Imagine you're a person that... So you would think that inconveniencing someone's life by just being slightly weird.
What, lay on a fucking street in Oxford Street? On a yoga mat? No, go away. No, I'm not not interested.
Wow. What if it actually really helps people?
Yeah, great, but maybe not on Oxford Street. Do it on a quieter street.
Well, I think that defeats the object of the
okay,
game.
Fair enough.
Defeats the object
but
of the
would you go and lie on a street?
To be fair,
do you have a problem with lying on a street?
I don't have a problem with rejection, mate. I live from it.
Yeah.
the basis of my existence is rejection, and I'm all right with it.
Come on, mate, you've rejected.
Oh, definitely. I've been on both ends. More on the other end, though, particularly if we're talking from a career perspective. We remember Death Week, 2 weeks after the Edinburgh Fringe. We won't talk about that. Anyway, either way, career's going well. But yes, I'm not too bothered. I think you get used to it.
What? Lying on the street?
No, rejection stuff. Whereas I don't think it matters as much to me being rejected. Like for me, on a dating app, if someone ghosts me, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
But then actually, am I now sort of being a hypocrite here? Because I'd rather that than the rejection of just someone going, no.
You would rather that they don't say anything?
Yeah, I'm not bothered by that. I don't care. Because I understand people are busy. People are talking to multiple people. Come on. No one's on a dating app going one at a time. Like, some people maybe. But generally speaking, they're not. So you kind of expect that some things are going to fizzle. But I mean, I don't mind people saying that I'm not interested either.
Yeah.
But being ghosted really doesn't bother me, even if I've had quite a long chat with someone. If I've met up with them and then they've blanked me, that's different. Mm-hmm. I think that there is a code of conduct there where if you've met someone or chatted to them on like via video call or something, for you to go, yeah, no, probably not for me. But if you've just been chatting quickly, DMing, and then they fade, I'm not bothered by that even slightly. I don't know. Were you ever bothered by ghosting when you were dating?
Yeah. But
did it annoy you?
Not annoy me, but I think I felt there was good noise.
Come on.
Good noise.
Come on, I believe in you. Open up to me.
I think what you said is if you're just chatting, fine. If you have met up, that's when you don't. That's when I was like, well, hang on, there's not necessarily like an expectation, but the nice thing to do, in my mind, the correct thing to do is if you're not keen, don't lead somebody on or don't leave them in the lurch. So that would be, so similarly to you, if it was a situation where you'd met up and it wasn't quite right, you said whatever version of that you felt was appropriate.
You give it 4 more goes, even though you're so aware that it's not right for you, and then you feel bad even worse when it's fourth date and you're like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I think that I was through our therapist. I joined therapist.
Right, I feel we should really clarify what happened here. me and you had the same therapist for a short period of time.
Yes.
Because we were both going through breakups at the time, and we thought, you know what, maybe brain needs a check, and worked out quite well. But
well,
yes.
yeah, I had him, and then you thought,
yeah, I nicked him.
He sounds all right.
Well,
I probably need somebody.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, he's good.
And then you got it through work, and I paid for him out the nose.
You paid handsomely through the nose.
Yeah.
But he basically said to me, I've got my little set of rules for dating. It's probably worth having to think about your own set of rules. And that's what I did.
So that's a really useful, handy tip. So you have your own rules for dating. You don't have to disclose what your rules are, but I suppose
they were back when I was dating, were that I want to treat somebody the way was that the right one? I'd like to be treated the same way that I treat someone. I think I got that wrong.
That's fine.
But in terms of, I didn't want to ghost somebody. If I'd met somebody and we'd both put in the effort, I didn't want to be like, I'm just going to ignore that, because that's not right. I am a person who would much prefer, in any walk of life, be it work, relationships, wherever we are, friendships, if something's wrong, just fucking say.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So I've got a list.
It's just so much easier when you know where you stand. That was my kind of key.
Yeah.
What was his little line? His little line, I don't know.
Oh, you might have had it with you. I don't know if I.
His little line with me was, he didn't want to do anything that he wouldn't feel comfortable to tell his family.
Really?
In dating, in meeting people.
Well, for comedians, my parents have heard me say some absolutely atrocious stuff on stage. I'm almost not bothered now. Well, they aren't. They're not asked. They're so used to what I say on stage now that it doesn't really bother them.
I did see that on, I believe it was Bluesky, we did get a comment from somebody.
Yes, I believe it was Jordan. Wanted to ask. So thank you for also for everyone who's sort of mentioned us in comments, and thank you to those who have been slightly less positive, but we've had some really nice messages, and also from people who have listened to stuff we've done before, and they're happy that it's back. So we're very, very happy that that it's found people again, and we're really enjoying doing it. So yeah, if you do have any messages, do let us know. Interested on your vibes on the ghosting thing as well. Be good if you, not you personally,
my vibes,
not your vibes, the
royal you,
the you listeners, the you listeners. I'd love to know what you think. But yes, Jordan asks about mad hookup stories.
Well, very quick,
dating stories.
Very quick one from me, Jordan. Don't have any. We'll pass over to Parsons.
Okay. Well, do we go hookup or do we go? I mean, there's plenty from a dating perspective. I mean, I think
dating. I think let's keep it.
You don't want the X-rated.
Well, no, I think we go X-rated on Patreon.
So I was on first dates. That was quite a big date.
Do you remember the first dates day when it broadcast and we had a little hub?
We had a hub of people, of friends.
Retweeting, tweeting.
Yeah. I mean, we were trying to find the negatives and then retweeting that because it was more fun.
Yeah.
It was more fun.
Not great for the old mental health.
Not great for the old mental health. In hindsight, terrible idea. And also, it wasn't a great history. Basically, date went well received, lovely stuff. Me and a very nice guy called Jack, we had a nice time. It was great. It was a very successful date. We felt it went all right. There was one term I used during the date, which I regret now, but again, it was a while ago. I wasn't very versed in the LGBTQ community and terminology.
Also edited in a way in which...
Also absolutely done over by the edit.
It was cut in a certain way.
Yes.
So, you know...
So yeah, I use the term straight acting, which LGBT listeners will know. Not a great term.
I believe at the time when we chatted about it, I'm pretty confident the whole thing was something like straight acting and by that I mean that sexuality.
So it was a joke, basically. I was making quite a light-hearted point about how. So I thought it was quite a twee point of I would like someone straight acting, and I know that's a controversial term. But I want someone who sexuality isn't a significant part of their life. It's a part of their life. And I wanted it to be a bit more incidental. Actually, in hindsight, that's probably not how I view sexuality now. I do think it's a more significant part of my life. And it's going to be, and I think it should be incidental, but also in some ways it's really formed who I am. So I can't really, it's not something I can bury either. So I sort of made this kind of nuanced point. They edited it directly after the term straight acting. I looked to you on the night when we were watching it. I went, that's not going to go well. That's not going to play well for the floating voters.
How old were you?
I was in my mid-20s. So I was 27.
This sounds like a PR job that we're trying to do.
It does feel like Gregg Wallace needs us.
He's not a disgraced MP, everybody.
No, but it was like one of those, because I think it's my most, it's probably my most public fake dating fail. So I feel like I should mention it.
Yeah, I've got some questions that people have been far more interested in. Yeah. One, how was the food?
Sorry, I was just taking a sip.
Where was it located?
It was in St. Paul's at the time. The food was, I'm going to be honest, the one thing they did do was take us both to separate hotels beforehand and offer us quite a lot of booze. And this was during the drinking years.
I didn't know that.
So
I know that you were a bit battered on the night, on the day.
I'd had 2 or 3 beers before I'd even got in there. And I think he had as well. And also, you're going off adrenaline as well.
Of course.
I'm going to be honest, he was really attractive, and I wasn't expecting to I thought I'd have to I didn't want to be the guy who went on a date and was like, don't like them. And I wanted it to be like, no, I really like the person. I wanted it to be like that. So I was kind of taken aback when I was like, oh no, this guy's a really attractive guy. Oh no. So then I just got swept away with a bit more booze.
Do you notice the cameras?
They're like little pods, like little. They're not like, there's no people behind the cameras,
okay.
So they're just like positioned around. They're like little sort of like bollards with cameras in.
And how much was the food?
The food, I can't remember. It was around 50, 60 quid, I think, like all in.
You haven't answered if it was good.
It was fine. It wasn't something I was really
concentrating what you ordered?
on, because you're so aware of being on a date and being filmed being on a date.
Do you remember what you ordered?
I ordered like a green curry type thing, I think.
Green Thai curry?
Yeah, I think something like that. It was quite nice. So yeah, it was. But it was sort of, you sort of forget the cameras are there until the producers come in and take you out and go, you haven't mentioned your suicidal thoughts yet. Come on,
bit of depression, please.
And then you go back in and you go, I was sad once.
What was his vibe? I can't remember. I
can't remember his.
I don't want to dwell on him too much, as he's not here to give a right of reply.
He was an absolute gentleman.
Yeah,
he was just absolutely lovely. I have no notes. We went on a second date a while ago, and I think we just sort of both were like, maybe it was just the adrenaline. But he was an absolute sweetheart, really nice guy. And
what was Fred like?
Fred was fine. I mean, we didn't really interact with him too much.
What was the barman like?
I was really gutted because I wanted to be in first, because I said, I'm really punctual. Can I be the guy who's in first? And I got there and he's already been there.
He was there.
So he was the one talking to the barman. And then we had a very nice waiter. I can't remember the names of them. I really wanted the blonde woman because she was like my favourite of the waiters at the time. This was about 2017, 2018.
It was a while ago.
So yes.
So that's your most public date.
And the reason why it was a bit of a fail is because of using that term straight acting then meant there was quite a lot of articles written about how I was the problem in the gay community. I like that they skimmed past the fact I talked about like male suicide rates and suicidal thoughts. They skimmed past that straight to the fact I used the wrong term. But by the by,
but you've also accepted and if that comes up, you go, fair enough. I've learned.
Still comes up on dating apps now. Still, people will go, "Oh, were you on first dates? Oh, you said that thing." It's mad. People don't forget.
Have you got your copy and paste job?
Yes. The grinder also really. Yes, I was. Not sure me a knob. No, it was what it was. I think it was one of those moments where you just go. I learned a lot about, because that was the first time I'd ever done anything public.
Learned a lot about TV.
Before we ever done, where algorithms ever existed and you get abuse on a regular basis, it was quite nice to just get like my early, quite big abuse out quickly and early and get used to it.
Wouldn't it be lovely if you just had one allotted amount of abuse? That was you done now.
That was me done now. But no, we both now know that that's not going to happen with the clips we put out. But either way, you just roll with it. You roll with the punches. I found it very hard at the time though, because I thought, that was a really fun day. That was fun. We made each other laugh. We did Sean Dyche impressions, which I don't think got aired.
It didn't get aired.
I'm really gutted about that because it was a really solid impression from both parties. Did show us like hammered singing or dancing to Madonna though, or something.
Showed a little kiss as well.
Yes, we did have a little kiss.
Surprised that you were dancing along to Madonna.
Yeah, amazing what booze and a camera will do.
That's mad, isn't it?
It's not my usual vibe.
It's not your usual sad clicks and beeps.
Hey, now I don't mind a bit of. Do I? No, I don't mind a bit of Mads. Bit of mads.
Yeah.
Bit maddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably my biggest dating fail on a public level. On a hookup level, I've got very few because I'm not a big hooker-upper.
Yeah.
And the failures are so mortifying. I don't think they're funny enough.
And there we have it.
And it's just not that podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair point.
We had another question, which I'm quite interested to ask you. We're both, as we've said in other episodes, not sci-fi boys. We're not geeky boys.
Yes.
We're not good with that kind of stuff. We were asked a question by, I think, Victor on YouTube. What are our nerdier things that we like? Because we aren't big on the sci-fi fantasy stuff.
I think I will save one of them for another podcast because I think it...
What a teaser.
But yeah, I know. But I will mention the fact that I love older phones or dumber phones.
Oh my god, yeah, we need a whole podcast on that.
I think that will take a long time.
It annoys me so much. In fact, I think we found what episode 4 is going to be about.
I think we'll come back to that one. But in terms of nerdy stuff, I'm reticent to say it, but I'm a real geek about comedy.
You are a comedy geek. Now, I know that feels like a bit of a cop-out.
Yeah.
But you know everything, every single line of every single comedy. You're like Rain Man, though. Like there are certain a reference neither of us get, by the way. You are someone who remembers every single line of every person's set, and I'm not very good at that. And you'll be like, you'll see
your own set.
No, I don't remember my own set, to be fair. That's why I just often go to the crowd. What do you do for a living? I try and remember.
Yeah, I would say that my memory is fairly good. And for things that I like specifically, they will be stored up there. And we'll be talking, and I'll quote something from a 2000...
Oh, my God, guy. Like today, we've been working from my house. And often you'll just wander around and you'll say, "Oh, they're a little pickle," and you're like, "What's that? What's that?" And he's like, "Oh no, it's from like John Baggins' set from 2005, sort of Edinburgh cave that I saw." Do you not remember? No, don't know that, mate. Don't know John Baggins'.
I love it. I'm a real geek about comedy. If I had to think of anything else I was a particular geek about, football used to be a real...
You can't be a geek about football, unfortunately. It's too jockey.
Is it?
Yeah, you can't. We're talking... Look, the original root of the question was sci-fi style geekery.
Okay, fine.
We're talking like Warhammer level.
I think then I'll have to say that my phones, which will come on into another episode, which I think then opens it up for you. If we're going to talk about geekery, F1, racing cars...
I mean, I am a bit of a... And there's no bigger geeks than people who go and watch British touring cars, and I love that. But again, I think it's still a bit too sort of... a bit too blokey masculine-y.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the toxic masculinity in motorsport is fucking disgraceful. Okay. Anyway, apart from that, I do actually have a couple of geeky things.
Fire away.
I could play Pokemon Blue
that's great.
Forever.
Yeah.
I think Pokemon is one of my first loves, and it's really the only bit of anime that I really got into. I never really sort of found like Dragon Ball Z and other stuff. Mm-hmm. Pokemon, I love. The idea of a world made out of these creatures that had all superpowers. That's probably the only time where I've gone, I really... You know when Pokemon Go came out, I was like, wouldn't it be... There was a moment I was like, wouldn't it be amazing if these creatures actually existed and we all actually could catch them all? Ash Ketchum. Did you get into it as much? Because I used to watch the shows.
Pokemon or Pokemon Go?
Pokemon, not Pokemon Go. I lost interest.
Yeah, I loved Pokemon. Pokemon.
Did you watch it when you were younger?
No, I played the games, but I've actually just bought a little device that it looks like a Game Boy, but it's got sort of every retro game on it. So it's got Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Blue, Pokemon.
And for the listeners, incredibly legal.
I think it. I
don't know the words. I think it is.
I think it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably all right.
But I've been playing Pokemon Red on it. Mm. Was it called Pokemon Red, or was it just that you got the red cartridge because that was Charizard?
So there was different Pokemon that you could get on Pokemon Red to Pokemon Blue. So Pokemon Blue, you get some of the... I liked the blue ones. You got like Magma, whereas you could only get like Electabuzz on Red.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I loved it back in the day, and playing it recently, I got to the end and then lost to my rival and then haven't played it since.
Favourite Pokemon?
Ooh.
Come on, you should have a list.
I mean, my favourite Pokemon, I think the funniest Pokemon is Mr. Mime.
Mr. Mime. It really looks like you. Like Mr. Mime has got long fingers like you.
Yeah, but I don't think I look like Mr. Mime. I think he's the,
Yeah, but I don't.
I think he's the funniest in terms of the concept because it just looks like an old man.
I completely agree.
Sorry, guys. Have we checked this Pokemon? Is this just
Should we talk
someone's-
about the problematic Jinx, by the way?
That was my second.
one of the problematic,
Sexy.
most sexy, problematic. I'm going to kiss you and then you're going to fall in love with me.
I think Mr. Mime he's not my favourite, but I think he's the funniest.
He is the funniest.
I think Jinx is mad as a decision.
I think they ran out of ideas when they got to Muck and Grimer. Do you know what I mean? It's like just quickly, yeah, that'll do.
If I had to pick a favourite Pokemon, it's a great question.
Isn't it a good question?
What would yours be?
I find it really hard, but I do really. It's a weird one. I really like Dragonite.
Really?
And was it Dragonair? You know, the snaky one. I just think it's got a very cute face. And also, I like sort of water meets ice meets dragon. That's kind of fun.
Why weren't you watch Game of Thrones? That's having not seen it. That's probably
tits and dragons.
Water meets ice meets dragon
meets tits.
I don't know.
I don't really know. I've not seen it.
We shouldn't go down that route. But Mr. Mime, funny. Jinx, funny. Dragonair, cute. I quite like Snorlax as a Pokemon.
Snorlax, you like the funny Pokemon.
I just really
like the funny ones.
Because in my head, in the design room, they've gone, fucking hell, we are out of ideas here. And then they've
Bear!
and then they've just gone, there's an old man over there, pop a couple of mime hands on him.
Mimes, yeah, mimes.
I just think it's really
because everything else is sort of based on animals and like objects, and then you've got Mr. Mime, who's based on a clown.
Is there any that like disproportionately annoyed you?
Tangler.
Okay.
The reason why, and I think Tangler annoyed me because it's one of those Pokemons that on Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Red use rap all the time, and it is the most annoying move because it just goes shh, 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 and then you think you're ready to go, and then it keeps going. Oh, I hated that.
The ones
Bellsprout on there as well. You can fuck
the
off.
ones that I hated were the ones that used to use Harden.
Oh, fuck off with your Harden.
Yeah, what a waste of everyone's time.
Kakuna,
Metapod. Harden. What are you doing?
Oh, get a real life.
Yeah.
Soften.
Soften and have a heart.
Soft boil. That was one that.
Execute.
And
is this
and
fun?
Chansey?
Is this fun?
Anyway, we're going to go off that because some people may not know Pokemon, but that's probably my geekiest thing.
Fair. Yeah, fine. I will come onto my phones in another episode because that will take a long time.
That will take a long time.
Baby.
In fact, we'll do that on episode 4 because I can't wait to just lay into you for an episode.
Well, I think I probably have a right to reply.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
I do the edit.
Oh, I'll sit quietly. Just cuts me out.
The Joseph Parsons and Do Talking show.
Yeah. I reckon I'll have another think about any geeky, or I think geek's got a negative connotation to it, and I don't want it to have a negative.
No, it's a really positive thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a grinder tribe.
It's a what?
It's a grinder tribe. So grinder have tribes. So you've got geeks, jocks, twinks, bears, otters.
What's an otter?
Skinny and furry.
Skinny and furry.
I think skinny. Oh yeah, slim and sort of hairy. And you've got your bears that are larger and hairy.
Oh.
What's that sound? It's very much like our Pokemon.
Okay, yeah. Very good.
Very good.
Very good.
There's very few times, listeners, where I can see Emsley is proud of me.
Yeah.
And that was one of them.
There you go. On that edit, you can zoom into my face.
Yeah,
as my eyes go. That's the third time since our friendship. Oh, on our friendship, just before I think we probably do finish, you said that we'd known each other for 8 years. Mm-hmm. I had a look at the date. Mm? You've done the typical Parsons.
Have I upped it?
He's upped it.
Is it not 8 years?
No, 2016.
2016. 7 years.
Is that 8 years?
That's 8 years.
Have I done the maths wrong?
You've done the maths wrong. That's 8 years.
But yeah, I'll check that.
It was 2016, it is 8 years.
I think you might have said longer. I
might have said 9 years.
Yeah, I definitely remember.
Because we're closing into that because it was the start of it was be the start of next year, like April time or maybe.
I'll look at the next date for the next episode, but we'll come on to it. But I reckon that's probably it for today.
I had to pick me up on something at the end, and he didn't even get his day. He didn't get any of the details right. He was like, oh, by the way, little detail, and also you had none of the details.
What I do.
You said it so confidently. You fill me with doubt.
That is one thing that you've learned from me. Is just say it with confidence and crack on.
Well, you can watch YouTube.
Yeah, you can watch our YouTube, everybody. You can watch on YouTube. Please do subscribe on YouTube for the whole thing visually.
Can I add something to this this ending point? Please rate us. If you've enjoyed this, give us a 5-star review on whatever podcast you listen to, because it will really help.
Yeah.
So please do that. That'd be really kind.
But a nice episode today. It was quite nice, delving into something that was a bit more sincere.
Yeah. Won't always be like that.
No, I mean, we talked about Pokemon, sure.
Yeah, sure.
But it was nice to sort of chat about something, and also nice to dissect first dates a little bit.
Yeah, well, probably about 6 years after that happened. So, and that is about 6 years after before you can go with the dates.
But anyway, if you want to watch it, it's on YouTube, the whole thing, and you can subscribe on there. If you want to download it, it's on all the podcast platforms.
You can get in contact with us on Bluesky at Parsons and Emsley. You can also do that on Instagram. And also, guys, if you want to watch me on tour, I would love you to do that.
We still haven't talked about your tour.
Next episode, we'll talk about the tour.
It's Phones and Tour Chat.
Phones and Tour Chat. Yes, I am on tour from January. Please buy tickets, particularly if you're in any of the venues that I'm going to, because they all would love a boost. And do spread the word if you have, just bring your family, your friends. It's a really good show. I'd love you guys to watch it. But, you do you, guys. You do you.
It's fine. We'll do some tour chat on the next one. But thank you so much for watching, listening. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And, guys, it's always a pleasure and never a chore. So be good to yourself.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.